All we ask of conservatives is just use 1% of the energy you use against Ilhan Omar and her Israel comments. Yeah. Use 1% of that energy and feigned outrage and fight on this front. That's all we ask of you. And yet it seems like it's some kind of, impossible to achieve goal because they just can't muster it because there's no money involved. This is quite.
And there might be negative money involved. It might cost them something. That's the other thing. Like they're all about oh God, it's going to cost us. It's too dangerous. We can't.
I mean, that's what happened to Gavin McInnes.
I mean, all of a sudden you see Kevin McCarthy grow like a pseudo backbone with Ilhan Omar. Wow, big courage guy.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're willing to stand up to a black woman.
A black Muslim.
All of a sudden a black Muslim woman can be in your crosshairs. Two of them, and you're going to get called. The other thing is this. He's going to get called racist for that. He says
Islamophobic.
He says, what's her name? The other chick, the two Islamic women. He says he's going to censor them. White man. Kevin McCarthy, good white American, whatever, patriarchal name, right? Conservative patriarch. He says, I am going to censor these two black Muslim women in the Congress. Why? Because they're going against Jews. Not because they're an anti-white, because they surely are. You better believe these two women are anti-white. He's not going to lift a finger for white people. No. And he's going to, and you could say, this is where the lie of they're afraid of being called racist comes in. You could say they're afraid of being called racist. That's what I know. It's a tempting narrative. I've said it myself. They're not.
Nope.
He's not afraid of being called racist when Jews are on the line. Yep. He knows that he's going to be called. He knows there's going to be a certain section of the left that is going to support these two, that when he says these two need to shut the fuck up because they're insulting Israel, they're going to call him racist. Suddenly he doesn't care.
And remember,
suddenly he doesn't care.
This guy does not, he's not the representative of Kansas, right? He's not representing like evangelicals, which is another straw man that Israel support comes from evangelicals.
Oh boy,
he's from very diverse California.
Yeah.
Okay. He's from very, very, quote, diverse California, and he is willing to do this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So what's the score there?
What's
Kevin?
going on with that, Kevin? What's up with
the score?
Yeah,
what's going on there? Why?
What happened?
And that when you see that kind of when you see them jump into action like that, it really it makes me feel indignant. Like
no, it pisses me the fuck off.
I mean, I just throw my hands up.
It gets my dander up, shall we say? Like it really gets me hot under the fucking collar.
Yeah,
like it's I was raging, but then I was also having a lot of fun. I'll be honest with you, I was both raging and having fun on Sunday night on Twitter. That was a fun night, man. Twitter was on fire. She was lit. I'm glad that this weird guy that seems to think he's like he wants to take you down as being a Nazbol is on Twitter. He's got some interesting tweets, but I don't know what his deal is with saying you're a Nazbol, and he's going to take this guy who's like documenting you on Twitter. He's saying Stryker's a Nazbol, and he's gonna it's a very strange account that I've seen recently. But anyway, but yeah, that was it was fun, and it's fun to get angry.
Yeah, I agree.
But I like it when there's clear-cut cases where we can show people what's going on. Because look, I get it why people would say, I get why somebody who's not as seasoned in politics would say like, yeah, Kevin McCarthy, he's a coward. He's afraid of the leftists. He's afraid of the liberals. They're going to call him a racist, and all these white guys. It's despicable how all these white politicians won't stand up for whites, and they're afraid that they're going to get called racist by all these minorities and stuff. I get why somebody would say that, because on some level you can see that. But then here we have a case where this guy's more than happy to put two black Muslim women in their place, or colored Muslim women in their place.
Yeah, what's very interesting is that someone who, one thing that you'll find about 2019 America is that a lot of people that lived under actual communism, they're starting to see a lot of the same stuff. Like, what's the point of having a Congress that you elect if you can't criticize a policy like these, AIPAC?
Right.
I mean, that's kind of what Ilhan Omar was getting at in her
Yeah.
apology. She's like, whenever I criticize the NRA, I get, pats on the back. Whenever I criticize any other lobby, I get lots of thumbs up. But then I go after AIPAC, and it's the two sides morph into one.
Yep.
To bring down the hammer.
They do.
So,
and that's sort of, I think, one of the most, dissatisfying of, and it's a narrative you see more on the left than on the conservative right. Because conservative right, people just don't criticize anything having to do. They really don't criticize anything. They're just, they're like whatever. But I see this narrative a lot, which is like, it's about money and politics. Nobody's talking about it. And I'm like, people talk about money and politics all the time. People are always talking about money and politics. People are always talking about this and that influencing politics. People are talking about big business influencing politics. People are talking about unions influencing politics. People are talking about whatever groups they don't like, the NRA. They're talking about lobbies. This is actually part of the discourse. People are talking about this all the time. You can see this everywhere. There's one thing you don't see. There's one kind of criticism you never see, and that you're not allowed to make. And that's Israel. And that's Jews. And these are the criticisms you're not allowed to make. You could talk about, you can even talk about, big bankers, as long as you don't say who they are. You can talk about, and you can talk about the military industrial complex. You can talk about, defense lobby. Talk about all that stuff. And it's totally above board. People do it all the time. People that are plugged into politics are talking about these things back and forth all the time. And look, I'm not saying that Defense Department, like the military industrial complex, Defense Department lobby, and the big defense firms aren't a problem, and there's nothing to criticize. There's a lot to criticize. But I could do a Twitter account, I could do a YouTube channel, I could do a podcast dedicated entirely to criticizing the Defense Department, Dick Cheney, Halliburton, Northrop Grumman, McDonnell Douglas, all the defense contractors and their lobbying efforts and their influence on Congress. I could do that all day long, and I would never get shut out of anything. I do a thing where I start talking about Jews and Jewish influence, gone.
Well, their claim is that it's anti-Semitic to say AIPAC is a Jewish lobby. So
I mean, that's absurd. And some of the debates that were going on, and the funny thing is, when you have basically honest goys like Michael Tracy, who just finds that, like, he's like, wait, what? What? Excuse me?
He's gonna get in trouble too, because he writes for the Spectator, which is I don't know if you know the Spectator, the American Spectator.
Yeah. Well, I don't think
he's like a neocon publication.
It's like a vaguely conservative one. I think though that he was because he started going after the left. And he started going after. Now he's basically a liberal leftist. So I don't want to tar him with the word liberal. I think he's like a decent leftist, is what I would say.
Yeah, the honest left, right?
Yeah, and
you're seeing that the fault lines of the honest left in this case.
Oh yes, big
the honest left is standing with Omar, which is what they thought you're supposed to do, while the Judeo left is either silent or jumping in on the dog pile.
Yeah, I saw one tweet I was critical of from Tracy where he tried to appeal to the Somalian identity of Ilhan Omar, as that would make her immune from criticism. And of course, it's a valid point to say, well, why does that matter? Like, why should I refrain from attacking her if I don't like what she's saying, if she's a Somali American? But again, that line of attack only comes out in this circumstance, right? In any other circumstance, the shut up, she's a Somali would work.
Yeah.
And you would shut up. So, but I didn't like that he was making that appeal. So I was kind of like, look, I hate to break it to you, Mike, but like that appeal it doesn't apply. It's not going to work here because you can't use the trope that was invented. Like, Jews aren't going to listen to a trope they invented to shut you up. You can't turn that back around on them.
Right.
They're just going to laugh at you.
I mean, I see some people doing damage control, particularly some Jews that don't want to alienate the non-white voting bloc they're trying to form.
Or the progressive
their
whites
response,
that are sympathetic with them, yeah.
Their response is that this is motivated by white male Islamophobia, and they're trying to change the topic to that.
Oh, dude.
and that's simply not what's going on here. I mean, this is clearly regardless.
They were finding. They're doing this to Jim trafficking.
I
was seeing. Well, we should talk about Jim trafficking sometime. We can even talk about it on this show. I don't have prep on it though. I'd have to go back and prep on it a little.
Yeah, I would too.
This
has happened before to people of all types.
Yeah. Well, trafficking. I mean, what happened to him was disgusting. But I was seeing all kinds of funny narratives coming out of the sort of the left wing progressive Jewish community. Or the Bar Sargon, right? Or what was her name? Unga Bunga Sargon. Like literally, like this bitch is the whore of Babylon, like emerging from the depths of history. When I saw her and I saw how she looked and I saw her name, I was like, what is this? Like the whore? This is like the whore of Babylon? Mm-hmm. Like she's literally like she's got this gray hair and she looks like a witch and she's got these big Kabbalistic pendants and it's like her name is like Ungar Sargon. It's like, bitch, are you straight out of like?
I think the organized Jewish community's response to Omar's apology was really telling. Well, you know, what I wanted to say though before we go to that, the thing about Bar Sargon or Sargon of Mossad is now we're now calling her literal Sargon of Mossad. The thing we're saying, what she was saying is that like the Israel lobby isn't even Jewish. It's 80 million evangelical Christians. Yeah, that's a great red herring.
And I'm like, I almost have to, like, when I see stuff like that, it's like, what was it Hitler said? I stood there thunderstruck. Like, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? And yeah, and it's amazing. And they have all of these lies. I really think we did a fun bit on TDS yesterday where we went through the Michael Tracy debate with the Israel lobbyist. I think his name was Arthur Schwartz. Oh God, Arthur Schwartz, who's arguing with Tracy. The Israel lobby doesn't exist, as he admits that he works for an Adelson-funded pro-Israel lobby group. And then this guy says, and then there was, oh my God, there's so many amazing moments. Like I almost want to like go over it again. We did it on TDS yesterday. If you want to check it out, there's a video on YouTube where we posted that segment. It's like a 15-minute segment, but it's truly stunning. So he says like, he's like, so wait. He's like, Elderson doesn't even donate to AIPAC anymore. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, so because of, and of course, because the thing is, what they do is there's a complicated structure of pro-Israel groups, and you could get into the weeds on that. Whether it's this guy donating to AIPAC or did he have like a dispute with AIPAC and he's going to another lobby group? Basically, Adelson, like AIPAC wasn't pro-Israel enough for him, so he went to like a harder core lobby group where he created a new one himself, which is what this Schwartz guy works for. And so he's saying that therefore your argument about AIPAC is invalid because no, you can't, because Adelson stopped giving to AIPAC, now he gives this other thing. But it's like, that's beside the point. The point is they're all this big constellation of groups working towards a similar goal. And he's like, they're not working for the same goal, they all have different goals. And he's like, and then he lies and he says AIPAC wasn't for moving the embassy. But it's like, well, okay, that's first of all, that's a lie. But like, you don't have time to react to that lie in the debate. So you're like, all right, assuming that's true. Point is, they're still working for generally the benefit of Israel. Like, it's literally exactly the way our uncle described it. Like, everything he described in that one paragraph is exactly what Michael Tracy experienced, and it's
literally gaslighting. I mean, they always make a big thing about gaslighting,
and they know that they know what they're saying isn't true, and that's what's so amazing. It's why you have to, and I give Tracy credit for like staying on point and basically being like, and the funniest thing of all was when the guy was like, so look, when Tracy's like, look, you are telling me this lobby doesn't exist as you sit there and you take Adelson money working for an Adelson-funded lobby group to promote Israel. And then the guy's response was, I don't take any money to do this. And it's literally like, guy, wow, flying with the, and the whole purpose of this is they know they're lying. They know they're full of shit. They just want to befuddle you, confuse you, get you going down the wrong paths, and gets you to just be so confused and befuddled and taking all these little red herrings that you can't focus on the big thing. You've always got to just say, like, no, you know what? You're full of shit. Here's the big picture. The big picture is there's a lot of rich Jews, and they give money to a lot of different lobbying organizations, and these organizations all put pressure on Congress, and the end result is there's not a single fucking congressman that will step out of line on Israel. That's what's going on.
Trump is going out now. So embarrassing. Trump is going out now demanding that Omar resign.
What a fucking disgrace.
Go chump.
What a disgrace. What an embarrassment.
Trump, what a fucking joke. Does he do that? I mean, does he do that on anything else?
Has he ever done that once for somebody that said anything anti-white?
Of course not.
No. White people can get shit all over every day of the week. Neither he nor Kevin McCarthy will say a goddamn word.